Hi there, I'm Greg Sanders, Group Publisher at QSR Magazine, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, How to Optimize Your Restaurant Spaces for Drive-Thru and Mobile Ordering. So the way quick service restaurant guests order has drastically changed since 2020. Drive-thru and mobile ordering have become the go-to ordering methods for customers, but in-person dining is starting to make a return as well. And of course, accommodating your customers' ordering habits really is crucial, so it's important to lay out each restaurant to cater to all ordering types. And now, how restaurant operators can go about accomplishing this is exactly what we'll be discussing today. A couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. First, this session is being recorded, and we'll let you know when the recording is available. Second, we will be taking questions at the end of the program, and you can use the functionality on the webinar console to submit a question at any time. All right, and now to begin, our panelists today are Mandy Bayliss, Vice President of Operations at Sevan Solutions, and Sean Phillips, Vice President of Architecture, Engineering, and Design at Sevan Solutions. I'll turn it over to them to get started. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Just noted, again, my name is Mandy Bayliss. I'm a Vice President of Operations for Sevan Solutions. And who is Sevan? We are a program management firm specializing in survey, civil zoning and permitting, architecture and engineering, real estate development services, technology, data analytics, and construction management. Our agenda today, as we discuss how to optimize your restaurant space for drive-thru and mobile ordering, we will cover the following: trends in customer ordering preferences, maximizing space to accommodate ordering needs, steps for rolling out a remodel program, and how Sevan adds value. So first up, drive-thru is still king. Still trending in 2022 are the numbers of customers coming through the drive-thru lanes. And why are customers coming through the drive-thru lanes? For convenience, of course. And when customers are ordering in the drive-thru lane, 38% still prefer an in-person interaction. 20% prefer a third-party mobile app, and 18% prefer a restaurant mobile app. And you're going to need to keep it fast. If your wait times exceed 5 minutes, the annoyance alarms start going off in your customers' bodies. But the good news is the average wait time from start to finish was slightly over 4 minutes in 2021. Now, some things to keep in mind. How can you help with long wait times? Things such as additional drive-thru lanes and kitchen optimization can help reduce wait times and increase total transactions. Next up in customer ordering trends would be mobile ordering. Around 42% of QSR orders are made online, whether that's through the website or a mobile app. And here's a fun fact. 55% of customers feel that ordering in person feels longer than ordering digitally. And I have to say, honestly, sometimes I feel the same. Mobile apps. Why do customers like this method? One of the reasons are customer rewards. Getting that loyalty reward, a coupon, or some kind of incentive is a nice reason to come back. Additionally, mobile pay. Click to pay is key. 40% of customers prefer this method of payment. Being able to easily find your menu item and check out and pay is a convenience customers love. And when customers are ordering out, about 33% prefer to use a mobile app versus 25% using an in-person interaction when they're carrying out. And what about those third-party mobile apps such as DoorDash and Uber Eats? 18% of customers are still prefer using this method. So what is the current temperature out there regarding the future of online and delivery orders versus in-person orders? Still, 34% of people agree that online ordering will take priority over in-person. And if you break this down by demographics, 42% of millennials back this up, while 40% of Gen X agree. So you can see that this has a strong trend behind it, that mobile app is here to stay. Next up in customer ordering trends has to do with in-person dining. And you can see that it's returning to pre-pandemic levels. But some key things to remember between mobile ordering and in-person dining. When a person comes in to dine in, 65% of them want that in-person interaction. And this is very interesting considering the thought process of mobile ordering and carryout we spoke about on the previous slide. The mobile trend for in-person dining versus the mobile app for in-dining is 10%, while third-party orders for in-person dining is at 8%. And that's a large swing in customer mindset, whether they are coming in to eat versus carrying out. So it's very important to have a pleasant in-person experience for in-person dining. Customers still like convenience options such as the kiosk, keeps the customer in store, and about 8% of customers are using it. And the good news regarding kiosks is that they provide you and your brand an opportunity to upsell and increase the total sale on each ticket, so more money for you. And the interesting thing is there's a bigger grace period with customer annoyance with in-person dining versus drive-thru. You can get away with 10 minutes or less before they start to get impatient versus the 5 minutes in the drive-thru lane. Now remember, more than 76% of customers don't like to wait more than 10 minutes to be served when dining in person. So just high level with some QSR, when you're coming out with a building layout, a few things to keep in mind when you're designing your building is depending on your menu, it's usually a 60-40 split is common for the dining area and kitchen respectively. Everybody lays things out a little differently, but 14 square feet per person is a nice guideline to go by. And then parking spaces, depending on the building code, is all listed for you right there to help with your layout options. And now I'm going to pass it over to Sean to dive deeper into the design elements for restaurant and drive-thru optimization.
Thanks, Mandy. So ultimately, we're all here today to talk about design and how good design of layout, systems, and strategy can make the experience better for everyone. To maximize interior spaces, obviously we can tweak traditional store layouts, add new improvements, and use historical data to improve our designs. But we must also and always incorporate employees into the design of our stores, get their feedback, understand their struggles, and consider what works well for them. One area where we can focus on this is the point of sale. Is the equipment our staff uses the best equipment for the particular style of service we are providing, both for drive-thru and in-store. For drive-thru systems, does the POS equipment support drive-thru runners, employees who walk the drive-thru line, taking orders and payment? In-store, does the POS equipment integrate with self-service kiosks? Equally important is the layout of the interior space. Are all the service points easy to get to? Does the primary service counter create choke points in the main path of travel? Are self-service kiosks positioned out of the primary path of travel or service counter queues? Do condiment stations create interior traffic flow issues, and are accessibility clearances being considered and addressed? Again, all important topics that need to be considered in any design. Employees see these issues unfold all the time in their stores, where they work, and they see things that sometimes others do not. So it's important to ask for their opinions. They really do matter. The best teacher is experience. When it comes to addressing the shortcomings of a restaurant during the development and design phase, we rely heavily on our experience to guide us. The flow of the services during peak times is what we focus on. Which systems and procedures work well, which ones don't? How do we address the office worker who drew the short straw and shows up unannounced with 10 orders to fill all at once? How do we address staff shortages, outdated tech on shoestring budgets? Can our store support a sudden onrush of 10-year-old soccer players and their parents after the big game? And how do we deal with the overflow in the dining room? Will there be a dedicated staff member in charge of dining room chaos, keeping paths clear and helping guests find open tables? We want to focus attention on layouts that promote smooth flow to traffic to mitigate bottlenecks and inefficient service. The back of house spaces or kitchens are just as important to the success of the QSR as the service points and dining room experiences. An inefficient, poorly laid out kitchen will never perform as well as a well-designed kitchen. As the industry changes, we start to look at utilizing the kitchens in new ways. With the advent of more digital ordering and order ahead opportunities, can we dedicate a previously underutilized portion of the kitchen area as a new digital make line, separate from the primary make line? Using a separate line for digital and or drive-through orders would help to mitigate order mix-ups and confusion for order runners. One of the newer concepts is the use of digital pickup shelves or order ahead shelves where the staff places the orders for online orders in an easily accessible location in the dining room within clear view of the staff. This method takes staff interaction almost completely out of the equation for customers who just want to get in and get out with their order quickly. It also works well with third-party delivery companies such as Uber Eats and DoorDash, as Mandy mentioned earlier. With the sharp increase in drive-through ordering and now curbside pickup, the exterior layout of the store has become just as critical, if not more so, than the interior layout. Always the top priority here is safety. After all, our customers will not be very inclined to buy our products if they fear for their lives simply by walking across our parking lots or have to deal with aggressive drivers at the drive-through lanes. For parking lot distribution, it's important to know or project your ratio of dine-in to curbside sales. Where and how many curbside spots will you need? Can the staff easily get to the spots without crossing drive-through lane traffic? Equally, can the customers get to the door safely? How does spot placement impact delivery and wait times? Dedicated mobile order spots can also offer convenience to those customers while avoiding parking spaces for dine-in customers. Does the parking lot size lend itself to all these services? For the drive-through lanes, it's important to consider standard dimensions. If the lot is tight, we may opt for a 10-foot lane versus a 12-foot lane width. Pay close attention to restrictions by local regulations. Communication of order to staff from the drive-through has historically been a sticking point for QSR success. We're all familiar with the old drive-through speakers that sound more like the teachers in a Charlie Brown Christmas than a human being having a conversation, or the staff member who has to throw on the parka and run to the back in sub-zero temperatures to flip the old menu boards from breakfast to lunch. With the advent of digital menu boards, many of these struggles have vanished. They make the ordering process simpler, more clear for the customer, and mitigate order mistakes. Improving order accuracy reduces wait times. These boards can also be changed easily to show seasonal specials and limited time offers. Easier visibility of the boards makes it easier for customers to see signage from further away, which helps them make decisions before reaching the speaker. Digital tech also includes the use of handheld order-taking devices for order runners. A fully integrated system would tie all of these technologies together to improve efficiency and accuracy for the customer and the staff. One of the newer trends is the use of drive-through only sites. Drive-through only may have a very limited dining room or no dining room at all. These stores usually include multiple drive-through lanes and can often fit into a much smaller site footprint. These types of stores afford the designer a lot of new options like kitchens that are above the drive-through lanes and separate additional lanes for mobile pickup and order ahead. This option may be ideal for tight urban areas with high anticipated drive-through volume. This can also provide one of the most secure environments for staff and customers, as nobody needs to exit their cars during peak times. Digital order ahead is not that new, but integrating artificial intelligence, or AI, into the system could be a game changer for many companies in the not too distant future. For example, a Siri-like voice may greet customers and use voice recognition to recognize who is giving the order, provide order options tailored to that particular customer. Further, the tech could provide alternates if desired menu items are out of stock. AI can also incorporate touchless payment systems. Using the app and geofencing technology can alert the store system when the customer is in the store or close to it to charge the customers for the purchase with a simple text message verification and without the need for physical exchange of cash or cards and no interaction of POS keypads. Systems such as this free up frontline workers to assist in order prep and fulfillment. Now Mandy is going to retake the reins and talk about some steps for remodeling your restaurant. Mandy?
Thank you. All right, so high-level steps for remodeling your restaurants. We're going to go high-level over here, and then we'll dive a little deeper as we go. Survey your sites, understanding your assets and visualizing them. If you base your budget off of assets that you haven't seen in a while, plan on busting that budget. Having an accurate asset assessment is key. We'll cover that more, but really, if you've ever planned on remodeling a program and not knowing what's out there, you'll get out there and you will find a bunch of skeletons hiding in your closet. Next, you're going to want to design the space. And as Sean mentioned, designing the space to account for the crew and the customer is key. Third, you're going to want to utilize program managers. You're going to need permits depending on your scope of work, a good set of contractors that you're working with that you trust and have a good quality product. You need a good person to manage your remodels, and you need a proper closeout. So diving back into the survey piece, this is an example of a conditions assessment survey that we can do. And what we do is we go to the site and we can customize it to your specific needs. But a good one to do, rule of thumb, would be exterior and interior. So we go and we take a complete survey of the existing building, site conditions, trash enclosure, lot lights. We go into the lobby. We look at the existing foundation. Are there any cracks in the slab? Is the restroom layout in ADA compliance? How's the back of the house? What does the kitchen look like? 9 times out of 10, behind 3 comp sinks that haven't been remodeled in a while, you usually have some kind of dry rot issue. So we go back there and give you a full view into what's going on in that existing asset. And why this is key is when you're coming up with a remodel program or just a remodel for a specific site, you want to know truly what your budget is going to be for that entire scope of work. What is it going to cost to do this project? And then in there, if you do a program, you can properly budget and not just give a blanket number and then head out into the field and have budget busts all over town. So that's really, really important and why we stress the proper site assessment survey or conditions assessment survey, excuse me. Sean?
Thanks, Mandy. Here's a sample double drive-through layout. Just some items to note here. This is something we would typically submit for any project. We'll do an initial design review and then get feedback from our client. But a lot of key issues that you can see in the plan. Questions like how likely will it be that the ADA spots could be blocked by high volume drive-through times? That could be an issue in this particular layout. Is the spacing of the cars between the windows conducive to window-to-window interactions, or will it cause one car to be halfway, which can cause delays, once the customer is able to get up to the pay window? Are the digital pickup and curbside pick spots close to the building and the front door? Are they easily identified with some kind of signage? And do customers or staff have to cross traffic flow to get to them? Is there a bypass lane for cars that need to pull out of the drive-through lane? Again, this is, customers may get their food early if you've got lane walkers, and will those cars be able to get out of the line and go ahead and leave the site easily, or are they going to have to wait, which kind of defeats the purpose? So, for pedestrian routes clearly marked around the site, again, it's all about safety. We want to make sure that our customers have a nice experience and don't have to worry about a lot of traffic or getting run over. For the drive-through signage, are the minimum heights being met, and do you need a height gauge for overheight vehicles?
And I'd just like to add to this too, Sean, back to the layout, is oftentimes, sometimes people will look at a site and go, yeah, I can get a side-by-side on here. But back to Sean's point is you have to make sure that you have functionality. You also have to take into consideration waste management. Can they get their trucks back to the trash enclosure? What about deliveries? Are they going to be able to access the site? So just because you might be able to get a drive-through in there, you need to take into consideration other requirements in order to operate well. In addition to the signage piece, there's been several sites that I've worked on where you can have caution tape up and site under construction, dining room closed, and customers will still come and say, is the dining room open? So having proper signage, this ties into nice signage that's visible, whether it's a directional leading you into the lot. It's nice drive-through signage saying order here, and the striping on the lot is key also to a nice proper drive-through layout.
Yeah, those are good points, Mandy, and I'll add one more point. If you do end up with a site that has, a rear entrance back there by those dumpsters, you have to consider the possibility of people cutting into line. So do we need to put in curbs or planters or bollards or something to try to mitigate people kind of coming in that back entrance and trying to cut into line as opposed to just going around the site and entering behind everybody else? So just another consideration.
Thank you. And then why you need program managers. Program managers are key because they can help you with estimates, projecting your timeline, tracking your permits and your vendor tracking, doing the actual construction management, doing budget tracking and closeouts. And the beauty of it is you have one person to talk to and go to for all of these items. Then with regards to permitting, acquiring permits, this is the biggest variable, if you will, in this whole process is trying to come up with your timelines, because each city and each jurisdiction has their own requirements in order to do a remodel. So when you have a project manager working on the program, they can make sure they're working hand in hand with your architect to track middle dates, when the plans are coming out, any changes, coordinating those changes with any contractors in the field and any vendors to make sure that everybody's building off of one set of plans, which helps mitigate change orders and cost increases. Securing contractors. You need a good contractor to have a good, successful remodel, and project managers can work with a GC and subcontractors for specialty work. And with Sevan's network of general contractors across the United States, this gives you and us an advantage, especially if you're in a market without any existing general contractors. So you need a good GC to make sure that you can execute well and have hopefully experience in this so that they know what they're doing. And even if you may not know so much, they can help guide you in the process. Next step is managing the remodel. During the remodel, our project managers, they're the one-stop shop, the go-to person. They're on the site. They're working hand in hand with the general contractor. They are having the foresight to foresee any issues that are coming up. If an issue comes up of the field, they work together to come up with a solution, and then obviously come to you as the owner and say, hey, this is the issue that's going on in the field. You can do option A, option B, or do you perhaps see option C, and come up with a quick and easy way to get it taken care of so that you have less delays in the field. There's regularly scheduled check-ins. There's constant communication coming out saying, here's the status of your project. Here are some pictures. So even if you aren't on site, you have somebody who's there representing you that are your eyes and ears in your absence. And then when it comes to program closeout, once the project is complete, the project manager is working with the inspectors in the field to make sure that you have all your finals so that you can open the store and start generating some sales. And in this process, there's also a closeout process with regards to contracts for general contractors, for vendors. There's sign-offs working with the operations team, like here, operation team, here's a copy of your construction drawings. Here's a copy of your subcontractors. Here's a list of contacts to call if something goes wrong with the store, or if you have a warranty or maintenance issue. So there's a nice clean handover of here's the project, it's complete. Now it's over into your hands. So how can Sevan help? Sevan has delivered over 1,700 restaurants and refresh projects for several clients, and we have the expertise to help in any stage of your refresh project life cycle. Like I mentioned earlier, the conditions assessment survey, which documents the interior and exterior of the site, that can help you figure out what your scopes of work are with regards to the remodel and any maintenance items. We can help with concept layouts for drive-through, curbside pickup, and digital ordering shelving areas with consideration for ADA guidelines, fire safety, etc. One of the other things I forgot to talk about earlier is kiosk placement. You need to make sure that when you're placing your kiosks in your dining room, that they're in a high visibility area where you're going to trap, so to speak, customers to be able to migrate over to that area to use those spaces. And you need to make sure that they're ADA compliant. You can't just plop them in anywhere. We can also help with final construction drawings and cost estimates. So we're your one-stop shop. So you can come to us, we can survey it, we can give you concept plans, so we can actually design everything from architectural, civil, permitting, and zoning. We help with contractor bidding and awarding. So what we can do is with our resources of contractors in all 50 states, we go out and we say, hey, in this specific area, we need 3 GCs to bid on these projects. We can get a nice level loaded bid that includes all your scope of work so you can get some good pricing. From there, we can do your permitting for you so that you don't even have to worry about it. We work with whatever architect you want to use. We like to do it in-house so you have one throat to choke, so to speak, so you have one point of accountability to get your project done. And then we have the construction management piece and the closeout. Last slide is your business is making a change and our business is making it easier around the world and around the clock. We're your eyes and your ears on the ground and in the room. And here's another slide of just some of the brands that we work with currently and have worked with in the past, and some of our or accolades, if you will. And we would love for you to consider us on your next program. So you can reach out to Sean or myself, and we would love to help set up your next program for you. And from here, we'll go to questions and answers. Greg, back to you.
All right, great. Thank you, Mandy and Sean. We will indeed now turn to questions from our audience. So if you haven't gotten yours in yet, please go ahead and do so. We will answer as many as we can live, and we'll follow up offline with any we do not have time for. All right, let's get started. We've got quite a few to go through already. What type of permits or licenses are necessary for a restaurant refresh program?
Well, from a construction perspective, it depends on what's changing. If you're only changing the layout of your dining room area floor plan, you shouldn't really need a construction-related permit, so as long as the utility layouts don't change. But if you're doing an entire remodel project and are undergoing a layout and utility changes in the kitchen, there will be several permits that need to be acquired, such as electrical, fire, gas, and signage permits being the most common. There could be other non-related construction-related permits that you need to get depending on how the layout of the space has changed. And if you're going to change what you're selling, such as alcohol, you need to go in for a liquor license to sell it. So it's really just project-specific or scope-specific.
Okay, from your experience, what aspects of a QSR remodel take the longest to complete?
I would definitely have to say the permitting piece, especially if you're going to add a double drive-through lane. Most of us who have already worked on this, we know that this could be the biggest barrier because you usually have to go in front of a planning commission, and sometimes cities are really friendly to them and sometimes they're not. So if anything that requires permitting is going to take the longest part of the project. So you're going to want to make sure you're aware of what that timeline is to be able to properly project your ground breaks and your completions. Next question.
All right, so how do I keep my restaurant open during a refresh program?
Well, it depends on what your scope of work is. So, like for example, if you wanted to keep your lobby open, you would most likely, so let me take a step back. The scope of the program, along with proper timing and program management, is to keep the restaurant open during the refresh program. So doing updates to the kitchen or ordering systems will be the most common types of updates that could cause operational delays. Regardless of what you're updating, the updates need to be done quickly as possible during the down periods of time when the restaurant's closed. For example, if part of your restaurant remodel program is to upgrade all the kitchen appliances, it would be hard to swap out all the appliances once overnight. So you need to create a plan to gradually swap out appliances that can help manage the workload and ensure normal operations can occur. If you want to keep your lobby open and you have some drive-through scope to do, you would just close your drive-through down and keep the lobby open, or plan on doing night work. Or you just clean up the kitchen and keep the kitchen open. So there's a couple different ways to do it depending on what your scope of work is. Next question.
All right. How much extra revenue could I earn from installing a second drive-through lane?
I would say that answer depends on how many customers you're losing now due to long drive-through wait times and perceived lack of service. If about 8% of your potential daily customers leave the drive-through lane and never enter because of long wait times, you could earn that revenue back immediately by adding a second drive-through lane to break up the traffic. Depending on how efficient your second drive-through lane will also determine what kind of revenue you can see. If a second drive-through lane reduces wait times by 20%, you should be able to accommodate 20% more customers.
All right, well, let's look at the flip side of that question. How expensive is adding a second drive-through lane?
Oh, again, it depends. It depends on what you add to the drive-through lane. So signage can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 per sign, depending on what type of sign you get, along with the size of the sign. If you're adding a second payment and or pickup window, that could cost anywhere from $500 to $1,500. If you create the lane itself, it can also vary based on the infrastructure already in place. If your lot is big enough to add a drive-through without having to reconfigure anything, the cost should be minimal. But if you do have to do a lot of like demolition, additional concrete work, stuff like that, the cost can range anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000.
Okay, I've got time for just a few more questions here. How many parking spaces should I dedicate to curbside pickup?
Sean, do you want to handle this one?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Yeah, you should have enough curbside spots to support your busiest mobile order demand period. So, for example, if 30% of your daily orders are done by a mobile app for pickup, but your busiest mobile ordering period is between 12 and 1, then 8% of your total daily mobile orders are placed. I would say 8% of your parking spaces should be dedicated to mobile pickup.
Okay.
Next question.
If I can't afford digital menu boards, what else can I do to make my drive-through lanes more efficient?
Good question. Well, if you can't utilize digital menu boards with order confirmation screens, I suppose the next best thing is to have a few employees take orders in the drive-through lane. Kind of talked about this earlier, the lane walkers. This is not the most ideal since they're exposed to weather risks and vehicle risks, but these employees can help take the orders quicker, directly confirm with the customers that their order is correct, take payments. They can run orders out to the cars to mitigate wait times. So again, this was, as we mentioned earlier, it gives the opportunity for those bypass lanes to become really important, be able to get out of the lane and move along.
All right. We have time for one more question. We'll make it this one. From a design perspective, what else can be done in store to efficiently manage traffic other than installing pickup shelves?
In that case, signage is really crucial to help different types of customers navigate their journey through your restaurants. Wayfinding, you don't want mobile pickup order patrons to wait in the store, in the dining area, order area, and vice versa. Installing clear signage that helps show the distinction between ordering and fulfillment areas of your lobby would really help reduce customer wait times by reducing a lot of confusion. So I would say the signage is really crucial there.
All right. That is going to conclude our program today. Many thanks to Sevan Solutions for making the program possible, to our audience for attending, and, of course, to Mandy and Sean for sharing their expertise. As we mentioned at the beginning of the program, we did record today, and you'll receive an email letting you know that recording is available. Thanks again, and have a great day.
Thank you.